Hi, and welcome back to the Impact 1 Million podcast, From Success to Significance. My name is Shar. Today, I'm actually really excited to speak to someone who's created a very unique brand. His name is Tom Lawrence, and he's the founder of Swanky Socks. He started in 2014, one guy knocking on retailers' doors, and has now become one of Australia's leading custom sock companies. They've donated so many socks to homeless people, and I'd love to dig in and find out more about his impact and the legacy work he's creating. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Thanks, Shar. Appreciate it.
It's really interesting. Like, one day, did you kind of just wake up and go, I'd love to know how this all started. Did you wake up and go, I'm going to start a sock company?
Yeah, there's a few different hooks that we run, but the main one is that about 2014, I was with my brother, and I had a pair of Happy Socks, which is a very large global retail fashion brand, and they were coming through during the sort of hype of colourful statement focused socks, and they had a hole in them after one wear. So straight away, I think that the entrepreneur mind set in, and it was almost like, you know what, let's see what we can do to start a sock company or do something that's better. So that's where the initial idea came from. Then I think just ongoing persistence and trying to start something and building a brand. Unfortunately, we kind of started when bricks and mortar was kind of at the peak, and then it started to crash and everything had started to become online. So initially I was sort of doing door knocking and going to retailers all around the country, bespoke menswear stores, etc. Getting a lot of no's, which is always the fun part of starting a business.
Yes.
But it also keeps you moving forward, and then we kind of just had a few sort of changing points and pivotal moments that where we adjusted what we were doing. We went into manufacturing, and then we established the social enterprise component of who we are as a brand. And then ultimately we ended up sort of moving into the custom sock space and the B2B corporate side, which is where we've done extremely well, and we're growing very quickly. And now we've kind of had a bit of a 360, and we're coming back to retail. We're really trying to push the retail brand even more so now, and big sort of focus around sustainability and bringing to market really good high quality socks, primarily based from merino wool, Australian and New Zealand merino wool. A lot of great sort of attributes around merino wool as a material, and especially for the feet as well. And then also just looking at the ethical side as well, and trying to really sort of showcase who we are as a brand. And I think if we can do that, then we're definitely in a really good playing field to have future success based on I guess nearly a 10-year period of building this business. It's quite surprising how long it's been, to be honest.
And it's amazing. Journeys like this often take a life of their own, and then they morph into something else, and you get led one conversation. It's like pivot. We get a lot of people listening to our show that are in business. So I'd love to go back to the early days when we're getting all these no's. Sometimes people think, they might look at you now and go, oh, it's all right for him. He's probably never had anyone say no. Well, we know that's not the case. Like, that's part of the entrepreneurial journey. So take us through some of those early days. What was some of the mindset that you used when you're getting, no's and no's? What did you do to keep yourself going? What fueled you?
Yeah, I've always had a good group of people around me. And while I was doing this, I was also a personal trainer in Double Bay in Sydney. So it had some very, successful business people that I would talk to and try and, discover what they've done to eliminate sort of, negatives in their own journey. But I think when you're in that sort of young mindset, I was sort of 23, 24 at the time, persistence and energy and just passion to try and make something work, I think is a very, very big player. Like I remember one day, and this is I'm saying back in the days, I'm going back to 2014, 15, it's not that long ago, but you'd sort of
the world
jump
is so
Google.
Different now, though.
Oh my God.
Isn't it? What?
It is, and I'd go on Google and I'd search men's boutique menswear stores, and I'd copy and paste to an Excel spreadsheet. I'd build my Excel spreadsheets out. I think I got through like 100 calls in one day of copy and paste and going through, and I had one yes to a meeting. And like just I still remember, I journal a lot and I write a lot, and I've done that for years now, and I think that's a very big part of mindset and awareness and growth as well. But
Very much.
I think sort of looking back and going through that period and going, hey, well, I mean, if you can get past that many no's in order to get one yes, and we're talking like 50 pairs of socks, so not a very big order. so, um, so I think it was maybe just like an unrelenting sort of passion to really make something work, and that's why I say like that young, energetic mindset is very much a place where you can really try and push through and get past things that maybe as you get towards later in life. I mean, I'm 34 now, but gone through things like IVF and starting a business and being sort of not taking an income and all those stresses that start to build up. When you're in that younger place in your life, I guess it's a little bit simpler. You're more open to taking risks. But yeah, I think overall, I think it was just an unrelenting passion to make something succeed that was my own, and leave I guess a very strong brand legacy, or something that I'm proud of, that my family can be proud of, my friends can be proud of, and I guess it's always the people that are around you are the ones that see you when you're working at your hardest or your best, and those are all the ones that have been supportive of me, and seeing when I'm doing sort of 16, 17-hour days and working at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and then getting up and changing children's nappies, etc., and just getting on with it. And I think that's probably been a strong focal for me, is just having that passion, and just not wanting to quit. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of very successful business people probably have very similar mindsets, where I guess you could, I won't swear, but just not care about and just having that mindset where you're going, you know what, I'm going to do whatever I can today, and then I'm going to finish the day, and tomorrow's a new day. It's a new page of my chapter and my journey, and we just start fresh and clean, and we keep going.
Absolutely. And I love the page analogy being a publisher. It's all about books and pages and the knowledge we glean from them. Like, that's gold. And that's how a lot of us have gotten to where we've got to. And I also love when you said, it's the people around you, your biggest support networks, they're the ones that are cheering you on, and they see everything. And so when you have a win, small or big, it's celebrated. And I think that gives you a bit more fuel in your tank to go, well, I like that feeling, and I do that again. The legacy piece is huge for us. So, getting up one more time, you've mentioned that it's about new day, let's start again, 99 no's, but you had one yes. And getting up one more time, remember facing bankruptcy after the Queensland floods in 2011, and thriving business, and literally it's like, well, I didn't make that rain happen, I didn't make this, but at the end of the day, the reality was I was the one facing that situation. And I think today in society, and I'd love your thoughts on this, it seems to be that so many younger generation, that people, they're thinking there's always a plan B. It's all right. It's like jobs are just something you take until you get bored or you find something else. And that work ethic, and that they always seem to have a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. I only ever had a plan A. I'm like, I'm going to give this my absolute everything. Because I believe in this and I want it to work. And it's not like, oh, never mind, I won't put too much effort, I don't want to get hurt or gaslit, I'm just going to move on to plan B. We didn't have that.
No, not at all. I think, like, I mean, like I said, I'm still sort of early 30s, and the team that I've got working with me, they're all very much in their sort of 20s, and that younger mindset, that younger heart. I've got a very successful business partner who's in his 40s, and he's done very well. So he's brought a completely different mindset to our business than what I would have had personally. And obviously a different stage of business when he grew up and was getting started and doing his own thing. But I think, like, when it comes to the younger generation, it's, for me anyway, and I can only base this on what I see, I guess, within our own team and what I believe. It's not necessarily about a plan B and plan C, and I guess a lot of people do have that, and I think they have every reason to have that. But like, I look at my team and I go, like, everything about the business in terms of where we are and where we've gotten to has been about them and them helping assist me. Yes, okay, I started this and I've done a few things and been on the sort of lonesome areas when you're by yourself, and You just have to push through. But when you've got a team, I think it's about them coming into an environment where they're enjoying what they do and they love what they do and they're feeling that there is a purpose behind what they're doing. For me, I always try and portray my vision to them and where we're going as a business. And we're still a small, medium enterprise, but we have, I guess, very, very strong views and a very positive vision behind where we're going, and the identity behind us. I think so. I think my team have trust in myself to be able to push through, and they also have, I guess, accountability on themselves, which I think it gives them that sort of that mindset to go, you know what, I'm a part of this. I'm a part of this business as we're growing through into those next steps. And it has been a long period. It definitely wasn't an overnight success.
No.
But I think finding for the younger generation, it's about finding something that's meaningful and that you enjoy. And it's not always about money. It's not always about and that's something I've definitely learned. It's about purpose. It's about why you do what you do. I think
what's
Simon
your
Sinek's,
impact?
Yes, Simon Sinek, the TEDx speaker, probably he says it best, and it's why we do what we do. People don't buy what you do; they buy why you do it. And I'm a big believer in that, and I'm a big believer in terms of your team and the younger generation. If they're working with you or for you, then but hopefully they'll buy into why you are trying to achieve this and the journey you've been on as well. And I was talking to one of my colleagues yesterday, and he was talking about your journey more so because it is a really quite fun, inspiring journey where you've had all these ups and downs. You've gone from starting a business to going through sort of no salary to even like sort of like male sort of mental, and I'll cliche that mental things like sort of anxiety and depression and all that, and sort of overcoming those and it being so much more aware of who you are as an individual. And so it's just I think it's about trying to find a meaningful reason for them to have that plan A and work through and see it through, and not get bored. And I guess also now with everything so much more digitally focused and with COVID enforcing or pushing more towards a remote working lifestyle as well, that opens up a lot more opportunities for people to want to travel and work abroad. And but at the end of the day, I think we're also going to be realistic and go, hey, things are still the same as they were 5-10 years ago when you have that core business and the values behind that business. So come into work, do the work, but you have to enjoy it, and you have to enjoy getting up in the morning. And if you can, I guess, inspire that or showcase that you're doing that yourself, then hopefully they're going to take that on and do the same as well.
Very much so. I agree with so many of those points, and I know people listening would go, yes, definitely. It comes back to culture and leadership. It starts at the top, and that culture you've created where you're seeing and hearing your team and letting them be themselves and letting them feel part of your vision and mission. That's everything. And so another question I wanted to ask you was, often when you're on this entrepreneurial journey and you've literally started from ground zero and worked up to what you have today, how important has it been for you to put yourself out there? So podcast shows, of course, like this, but being in books or magazines or press or attending high-level networking events, how important has that been to your business and the growth of your business, meeting those types of people?
I think I've probably done the reverse, the exact opposite. where and it's, I guess it's maybe an older mindset where you just want to stay quiet and low and work through what you can get done without trying to rely on outside sources like podcasts. I think for now this year, I think that's definitely a focus for us as a brand and myself, is to really sort of portray our journey a bit further. And we've done small things from time to time, like when we set up our social enterprise component of our business, and I mean, we're not a social enterprise, but we have an identity around trying to give back and raising funds for charities, etc. And I believe we have a really strong angle, and we do that very well. But we're able to, I guess I was able to push myself out there and then be a top 5 social enterprise. And you're going and you're doing a talk, and people are creating awareness of who you are as an individual or a brand. I think just constant communication and the people that I've been fortunate enough to be around. I've continually communicated with them and always tried to be social, whether it's on LinkedIn or just having conversations. And these, like, you're talking sort of head of marketings of big multinational brands, and so I'm very sort of humbled to be, I guess, around these people and understand what they do. So, but I think from like the social media side and everything, I probably haven't been as vocal as I want to, because at the end of the day, and it's like it's the mindset of someone that is, I guess, and you may not agree, but when someone, especially, and I'll talk on a male mentality here, is that males are always very timid. We stand back. We don't like talking about our feelings or anything like that. But the ones that usually, I can have a whole different conversation.
We can do a whole podcast on that.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Next time.
But you'll always find that the ones that do very successful in business, and I guess on a big social scale, and I'm probably talking more the American market, that are more vocal on this, and then they start to then revert back because they've had the success, and they feel more comfortable talking about their journey, their ups and downs, their pains, and everything that they've felt, because I guess they've hit a certain point where they feel comfortable in talking about that. And that's male mentality. I mean that, like, you're only going to talk to the people that you feel very comfortable talking to, whether that's your best friend, your partner, or your brother, or etc. So for me, I guess if we look at it from that mindset, that I've probably just tried to stay really sort of low and under the radar. And because, I mean, we are still a small medium business. I mean, yes, we've had some very good success, and what you said before, I think you hit the nail on the head, where it's always got to celebrate your wins. And I remember last month when I was in the UK, I just took a moment to reflect and go, you know what, okay, look at where we are now. We've got a long way to go, but you've got to celebrate those wins, and really enjoy those moments, because those are the ones that keep you pushing further down the track. So yeah,
100%.
Hopefully that makes sense. But
yeah, no, it does. I love that. And that's another great thing about, you know, either award submissions or for us in book, when we help our clients publish books, because when they're actually documenting that journey, they get so many revelations. We hear this all the time from our authors, that it was such a beautiful process for them to be able to go through, because they had to stop for a minute and actually go back and look at all the things that they had achieved to be able to formulate their story. And it makes you appreciate. But books are such a gift to future generations. You know, we've all learnt so much from books, because someone's taken the time to step out of their humbleness just for a quick minute, so that they can share their lessons, their learnings, their teachings, so that you and I can pick those up and go, right, they were able to do that, and we're all equal, and I'm just like them. So if I apply those principles, that mindset, that strategy, I could potentially have success in my own way. What books do you lean on the most, Tom?
I think I enjoy just sort of reading and looking at sort of, I guess, self-help books and mindset books. I have a very sort of stoic attitude and mindset around life. I always believe that things I can't control, don't let them control myself. And I think I've trained myself through reading even books like The Alchemist. Like, I mean, it's a very cliche book, but and you can probably read it 100 times and get 100 different messages from that. But Jay Shetty, I love what he does. I love what he's done. And even reading, like, I mean, you're talking about people's journeys, and like I've probably journaled myself personally since maybe 2015, 16, whether I'm having good days or bad days. I think it's very important to always journal the good days as well, because those are the ones that make you more aware of, okay, you know what? I got up this morning, I went to the gym, I had a really good breakfast, I was really productive today. Why was I productive? Instead of looking at the negatives. So yeah, I think definitely sort of self-help and I guess mindset awareness and stoicism are probably the inspiration behind what I enjoy reading, because I believe that there is definitely stuff that I take from that. But then you look at people's journeys. I look at people's journeys like Elon Musk. I've read so many books by Elon, Warren Buffett, and we sort of I take Warren Buffett from my brother. My brother's 6 years older than me, and he was always very focused on people like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, and their mindset, and he sort of inspired me to look and really read into these people, because they have completely different mindset than the entrepreneur mindset of today, which is sort of slow and steady wins the race back then.
Yes.
Whereas I guess everyone wants to be an overnight success. And with us, we're a 10-year overnight success, and we're
exactly.
We're still 5 years out, and we're always going to be 5 years out
from
where we want to go in life.
Of course, because our goals change, and we evolve and grow and change, and then we want different things. And I'd love to touch on, we talk a lot on this show about impact and legacy. And I love the piece about you when you went to research homeless shelters and realised what they were lacking. So tell everyone about what you've done there, because that's just outstanding.
Yeah, so I guess when was it? About 2016, 17. I started to become a lot more aware that socks and underwear were the two most needed items in homeless shelters when it comes to clothing. So I felt, I guess, as a sock company, there was almost, I guess, an obligation for us to try and give back there as much as possible. And because in the day, no one's going to give secondhand socks and underwear. So that's where it kind of all started. And then we started just donating socks to a few charities. I'll be reaching out to a few around Australia, even like rugby clubs in New Zealand and schools, etc. Just doing small donations here and there. And that sort of led us to that social enterprise component, where we were sort of nominated as a top 5 sort of startup social enterprise in terms of what we were doing, which is also where it led to me meeting my now business partner as well. So everything is an opportunity, but it's how you get there, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so then over the years, that's kind of just transitioned, and so through our retail brand, we now do, I guess, donations, and so we're about to do another donation of around 50,000 pairs in a couple of months to Giveit.org, so we work with them primarily for a lot of our donations in the last couple of years. Keep in mind, COVID's been a little bit of an annoyance in terms of getting socks over here, but we did a $100,000 pair donation a year and a half or so ago, and so I think we can continually do this, and like I said, we are not a social enterprise, and I'm very strong and focused about saying that. And I feel really sort of, I guess, not upset, but I feel that social enterprises and non-for-profits, they would have very much struggled during COVID. So that's why I say, for us as a brand, we are a for-profit organisation that have identity around trying to give back as much as possible. Because in the day, profit's the fuel that's going to allow us to be able to drive more sales and more donations actually give back. So through that, so now, I mean, after this next drop happens, we'll sort of be coming up to around 160, 170,000 pairs that we've donated in the last few years, which is really great. And that's still a very small amount, but at the end of the day, it's something that we're really proud of. And then we look at the charitable side. So we do sort of charitable activations where we'll launch a collection of socks with either a charity or a business, and in collaboration with the charity to raise funds for them. And so I think to date we're sort of coming up to maybe $400,000+ in funds raised for charities in Australia, which is just something, again, that we kind of do on the side, and it's something we're not vocal about, but we have it on our website and we share that. And whenever we're talking to, I guess, corporates and B2Bs, we'll go, hey, you're ordering 1,000 pairs of custom socks of us for this event. Would you like to donate another pair, or would you like to contribute towards our donation policy in terms of what we do? And some corporate companies, they want to jump on board and they love it, and they'll be like, hey, it's Christmas time, we're going to give 2,000 pairs of socks out to employees, but we're going to have a little note on the pair of socks that we do, and it's going to say, thank you for all your work this year, we really appreciate everything you've done. We've also donated another pair of socks to someone in need on your behalf. So those little small organic, I guess, changes that we're doing to the business over time, I think will definitely help. And that's sort of, I guess, overall, when it comes to funds raised and socks donated and value, I think we're looking at about $850,000, $900,000 in the last few years, which for a small company, I think it's a really, really positive play for us, but something we're really sort of, I think, humbled by that we're able to assist and do that. And I think when you go and speak to these charities as well, and you see that the impact that it does have and what it does, it's such a positive feel for yourself.
That's fantastic, Tom. I know that everyone's going to be listening to this going, that is brilliant, and asking yourself the question, what else could we all be doing? My husband and I are ambassadors for Destiny Rescue. We have a media brand. We have a media agency, right? Magazines, TV, talk shows, podcasts. We've got to talk about this sort of thing to raise awareness, because no child belongs in sex slavery. And, so we work very hard to raise awareness and partner with companies so that we can raise funds to get these girls out. And it's amazing how little it costs to have a rescue take place, and then for that girl to be placed into environments where she can then be, educated and go off and have all the choices that we have. So I love what you're doing with that. And, socks, you would think socks and underwear is such a basic item, but for people out there in the streets, it's not. And, we take that for granted. No. So what's next for Swanky Socks, Tom?
What's next? So, so we've just launched our UK office. So we've definitely very much focused on that for 2023 as a brand. We want to try and, I guess, put our step forward, excuse the play on words there, and really make a stamp in the UK and European markets, which are outside Australia, UK and the US are our biggest growing markets. And over the last 12 months, the UK and the US have overtaken our US market in terms of new business. So we're very much focused on trying to build out the brand globally on that B2B side, and be. And I think I'm very focused about this now, because I'm aware of the brands that we're competing against, and I genuinely believe that we're on a mission, and I'm on a mission anyway, to be the #1 custom sock brand globally, and that comes down to the service in which we attain to look after our clients, the quality of our products. So we leverage off our retail brand. Our retail brand is all focused around really good quality materials, like I said, and the perception there is that you're getting a $30 pair of socks, but then leveraging off that and taking that to the corporate market and going, Swanky Socks designed exclusively for Google or for Samsung or Pandora. There's so much perception and value for that. So, so B2B in the UK, I think in the US is my big focus, and then just organically trying to continually grow the identity of our retail brand in that sustainable market. And sustainability, as we're all aware in the last couple of years, is definitely pushing through, and trying to make better choices for both products and the way those products are produced, in order to support and help the environment and have a better identity there. So those are very much the focus points for me, and just continue on looking at our ethical trade policy. And as I mentioned, I was in Turkey 2 weeks ago, but 4 or 5 days just before the earthquakes, and just seeing our suppliers and factories there, and making sure that they're all running smoothly and everything's clean and there's no children working there, and all the things that they do come up from, and you have to continually look at those things and be responsible, because at the end of the day, it's very easy for brands, I'm talking small brands, big, large fashion brands, to turn a blind eye to that, so those sort of things. And so for us, having that identity, or having that accountability to be able to even go and audit our factories unannounced, is a very, very strong play for us, because that gives us the confidence that we know that our teams overseas in China or in Turkey are always going to be on point and doing the best, because at the end of the day, it's a representation of who we are as a brand.
Oh, absolutely.
And even who I am as an individual as well. So
it all links together 100%. Tom, I know that everyone would have loved this chat with you behind the scenes of Swanky Socks. How can they reach out to you? How can they find out more about your product?
So swankysocks.com is our retail brand. Through that, you can see what we do on the B2B side. If you're a corporation looking for custom branded socks for your next marketing or marketing event or conference, then you can click through there and you can see what we do. And we've got a team in Sydney and the UK now, so we're working around the clock to design and produce the most beautifully created custom merchandise for corporations. And then social media, we've got @Swanky Socks as our brand. LinkedIn, we're very sort of vocal on LinkedIn from the B2B side, and you're welcome to come to Sydney and knock on our door and have a coffee with us as well if you want to.
I'm going to be there in a few weeks and I'll be doing that.
Perfect. I would love to have you.
Thank you so much for being on our show today, Tom. Really appreciate it. It's been great.
That's all right, Shar. Thank you again. Take care.
Thank you.